welcome back to my channel. This is Swati, and here on this channel, I talk about books and stuff I like, and mostly books. So, today, this is going to be a reading vlog of a mystery thriller book called The Boyfriend by Frieda McFadden. She's really famous in this genre, and she has plethora of books that she has written, and this is going to be my first book that I am going to read of hers. My last read was kind of a very heart wrenching and heartbreaking one, so I wanted something that would not take too much out of me, but I got, whenever I read something really good, after that I get into this reading slump where I can't find anything good to read. It's not that there is nothing good left to read, it's just that uh, it's just that nothing seems to match up to that. So my formula to get out of reading slump is, one, I let it be. Sometimes I just want to read a thriller because thrillers do the job. Thrillers make you curious, make you feel like you want to know what happened, and they are great in in the way to help to get out of the reading slump. So this is going to serve that purpose. And also, I have heard great things about this book. Let me just read the blurb so that we know what we are getting into, and then I'll share my experience with you, and I hope this is fun for you. So it says, Sydney Shaw, like every single woman in New York, has terrible luck with dating. She has seen it all: men who lie in their dating profile, men who stick her with the dinner bill, and worst of all, men who can't shut up about their mothers. But finally, she hits the jackpot. Her new boyfriend is utterly perfect. He's charming, handsome, and works as a doctor at a local hospital. Sydney is swept off her feet. Then the brutal murder of a young woman, the latest in a string of deaths across the coast, confounds police. The primary suspect, a mystery man who dates his victims before he kills them. Sydney should be Sydney should feel safe. After all, she is dating the man of her dreams. But she can't shake her own suspicions that the perfect man may not be as perfect as he seems, because someone is watching her every move. And if she doesn't get to the truth, she will be the killer's next victim. In a story about obsession and the things we will do for love, Sunday Times bestselling author Frieda McFadden proves that crimes of passion are often the bloodiest. So, yeah, as we have read the blurb now, I'm just going to read it, and yeah, I'll see you in few hours, I guess. So I just finished reading the first two pages, 1.5 page, which was the first part called Prologue, and it was narrated by someone called Tom. And so this book terrifying, but yeah. So the Storm guy likes someone, and he's like, "Oh, I feel scared that if I tell her how I like, she would reject me." And then he's like, "But I'm also scared that if I tell her, she might agree to be my girlfriend." And then he goes on to describe how, if she invites him to her bedroom, he would wrap his fingers around around her pretty little white neck and squeeze the life out of her. So this is the first page, and we are in for a ride, I think. right. I have read till page number 102, which is the end of the chapter 50. So we have in this book two POVs. One is of Tom and another is of the main character girl, Sydney. And Sydney's POV is set in the present day, and Tom's POV is set in before present day. So Tom is 17 and he is kind of weird. His thoughts and not actions but thoughts are pretty psychopathic, yeah, whatever the word is. But in Sydney's POV, she goes on a date and she uses this app which is only available for New Yorkers, which is named Cinch something, and she gets on a really bad date and she's saved by this mystery man and she falls for him and all those things. And she has two best friends, and one of them is committed and one of them also is looking for a relationship on Cinch. And so the first murder has happened, and I don't know if it is a spoiler, but if you don't want to know, you can just skip ahead. I don't know how many minutes, but just skip ahead if you don't want to know what happened. But Sydney's best friend, who lives in the same building as her, who is also trying to find a good man in New York City, is brutally murdered one night. And now we have Sydney's ex-boyfriend, who is also a police officer, investigate the case. I've read till then. And in Tom's POV, the 17-year-old boy, he has weird thoughts. As I read prologue to you, he thinks like that all the time. Like, he thinks about blood, and he thinks about carotid vein and jugular vein, and he thinks a lot about how much blood and how much time it would take for a person to die if he slit it. And he has those thoughts about his girlfriend too, which is Daisy. And there are a lot of foreshadowing, like this Tom guy thinks about being a surgeon, being a doctor as he grows up, and the girl who got murdered was seemingly dating a guy who is also a doctor, and like there is a suspicion that it might be the same guy, but it also might not be the same guy. But there's also this mystery man who Sydney met when she had a bad date, who saved her. I don't know what I'm trying to say, and it might not make sense to you if you have not read the book, but I just want to figure out the murderer before the book does. But I know it is not going to happen, but let's see. Okay, so I am on page number 128, and I don't know what is up with thriller. I know it's supposed to make you feel like scared and like something is going to happen to these main characters, but I don't know what is up with people not working on their instincts. Like, if you get a bad feeling, just like, there is a police officer who told her, this girl, the main character, to inform him if she sees someone suspicious. And there's this guy who is stalking her, who was her Cinch match or whatever dating app match, and she saw him, and she's like, no, I'm not going to say anything to him, because I'm not going to inform the police because I don't know. And it's just so frustrating. Like it's the same logic as how when there is a horror movie and there is a sound coming from somewhere, like people go to look where that sound is coming from, and you're like, please don't go there, just stay in your bed and just let it pass. But yeah, I'm scared, can you tell? So I finally finished reading The Boyfriend by Frieda McFadden, and it took me less than a day to read this, which is really fast. I think thrillers are one genre that I read really fast. Otherwise, I'm a really slow reader. This book was amazing. It was engaging, it was thrilling, it was fast paced, it was binge worthy, it was a page turner. It was everything that I was looking for after the heartbreak that I experienced by last book. And yeah, I loved it. I gave it 3.75 stars, which is quite high, and I did not figure out who the suspect was before I was told, which is very embarrassing because I was being a smug, and when they kind of half revealed who the suspect is through the main character, she realizes, oh, this person is the suspect, and I'm like, who is surprised, Sydney? I knew that, and cut to in the next chapter, we are told I'm surprised, and I am like, oh my god, I did not see that coming, and I loved that. I loved that twist, and it just elevated my whole experience. Like, I would have hated it if I had figured it out, but I also hated that I did not figure it out. But anyway, this book was such an amazing experience. Uh, it is written in two POVs. One is from the past, which is narrated by which is narrated from Tom's POV, who is 17-year-old boy, and we are seeing events happening in his timeline and murders happening in his timeline. And there is another POV of Sydney Shaw, which is the present day, and she's a 35-year-old woman living in New York, and she's trying to find love through dating apps, and there are also murders happening around her, and somewhere we see these two timelines converge, and we figure out how they both are connected, and you will not be able to figure out what happened. And if you do, you are a genius, because I did not, and I'm not a genius. But anyway, the story was really engaging. It was chapters are really small, so it helps, that makes you want to keep reading and keep wanting to know what is going to happen, and I love that. If you have read it, tell me how did you like it, and if you have any other book recommendation for me, please leave it in the comments, and I would try to read it, because I am a thriller enthusiast in secret. I would love to read another thriller which is as good or better than this one. And yeah, that was all for the video, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please consider subscribing and liking and sharing on all those things, and I'll see you soon, hopefully. Bye.